some events going on. It's good to see. All right. All righty. Is everybody here? How's everyone doing? Good? Had a good week? Can't believe it's been a week. Oh, admit. So we have a few more people, at least one more person tonight that we didn't have last week. So if you weren't here last week, maybe kick off tonight's session just by introducing yourself, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, tell us where you live, and a quick snippet on why you ride.
Hi, I'm Angie. I missed last week because I didn't get the email. I live in Sammamish, Washington, which is just outside of Seattle, but my husband and I are both from Vancouver, BC, and we're kind of stuck in the States right now, so one day we plan to move back to Canada. I started riding about 11 years ago, and I've done mostly charity events, like organized events, lots of long distance rides, and I have done with the Grand Bondo twice, and compared to all the different organized rides, that's by far the best organized rides ever. Best routes, best logistics, best food. And I haven't been riding as much in the last couple of years and feel like I need some motivation to get me riding again. So when I saw this opportunity, my friend and I actually nominated each other to see if we can get in. So I'm really happy that I'm selected to be part of this group. So, and I watched the video from last week, so it was really good to hear everyone's story. Yeah, I'm really excited to be riding and to be meeting people who are interested in this.
Thanks, Angie. Welcome. Anybody else that wasn't here last year? Or last year, oh my gosh, last week? I'm just looking at the list. I recognize a lot of you now. We're all good? Awesome. Okay. Changing our flat tires. So I'm not sure who brought their wheel with them. If not, that's okay. Just practice on your own. This can just be a tutorial where you listen. If you have your wheel, a bike, awesome. It'd be great if you could change it with me. But first we're gonna go over what to bring on our rides. This has been asked by a lot of people. I've been getting this email a lot, so we're gonna go through what's in your saddlebag. So I pulled mine off my bike just now. And so I have my multi-tool Allen key set, which has various Allen key sizes. And this one actually has a chain tool. So if you break your chain, you can actually repair your chain, which is a really important thing to learn, and down the road, put that on your list of something I'd like to learn. If you don't know how to do it, that has saved my butt a few times. So multi-tool with the chain tool. I'm just gonna lay everything out here. 2 tire levers. You're gonna see why in a little bit. So I like to carry 2 tire levers. Any old tire lever is great. Oh, I have a little bike lock actually. It's not that secure, but it's more of a theft deterrent, coffee shop stop or something. I have a tiny bottle of lube in case things get a little squeaky mid-ride. These are just samples. You can go to your bike shop and get a little sample. What else do I have in here? Oh, I have a patch kit. So if you end up flatting more than once, so I have an inner tube for my size of tire. So make sure that this tire that you're carrying matches the bike you're riding. If you tend to go between bikes, I've had this happen where I pull up my inner tube and it's the wrong inner tube for the bike I'm on. It's a for my gravel bike, and I'm on my road bike. So make sure that you're carrying the right size. And then, so if you have more than one puncture and you're not carrying more than one inner tube, a patch kit is really important. Also saves money if you patch your inner tubes, and the environment also, rather than replacing inner tubes all the time. So that's all I have in there. You can also carry, so this is a tire boot. You can buy these. This isn't entirely necessary. So say you gash your sidewall, and even if you put a new inner tube in, you know, your tire's ripped. You can put this on the inside of your tire and it will hopefully prevent any further flats or blowouts. If you don't have a tire boot, I've always used money. So our new money is, I don't know, plastic. You can actually slip that into your inner tube. Just remember it's there, or it's a nice surprise in a few years down the road when you pull it out. And also you can use a wrapper. So a Cliff Bar wrapper, maybe you've had a Cliff Bar and the wrapper's in your pocket. You can actually use that as a tire boot instead. So a pump. We have this kind that actually, oopsies, comes in 2 pieces like that. I also have this sort of variety with just a flip off and then pumps like that. So whichever, they're both equally as good. I don't really have a preference. And some people use CO2. So if you're gonna carry CO2, that's cool, but just always make sure you have a pump, because if this is faulty or it blows up or something happens, you have a way of inflating your tire. So CO2 is, go for it. It's a quick way to get your tire pressure back, but always have this as a backup. I think that's it. If anyone's running tubeless, that's a whole nother discussion, but you'll need, they're called bacon strips. And I can talk about that via email if anyone's running tubeless. And if you are running tubeless, I wouldn't participate in the tire change because you're gonna have a mess of sealant, but it's still important to know how to change your flat if you are running tubeless, because sometimes you do need to put an inner tube in if you've gashed your tire or the sealant's not sealing or your bacon strips aren't doing their job. You might actually have to put an inner tube into a tubeless system. So it's good to still know how to do it, and it's really important that you still carry all of this stuff if you're running tubeless. I think that's it. Any questions on that? I heard something. No, we're good. All right, so for those that have their wheel, that's my gravel bike, so I'm not gonna use it because I run tubeless and I don't want sealant all over the place, so I'm gonna change this. So it's not flat, but we're gonna pretend I flatted. So I'll just give you a sec to grab your wheels. Nice. And I'm gonna keep my eye on everyone. I have the gallery view up and we'll try and do this all together. Just holler if something's not working or you need me to clarify or troubleshoot along the way. All right, are we good to go? Thumbs up. Okay, so we flatted. So let's pretend we flatted unless you have a flat. So let's take the air out. This might be loud, I'm sorry. So unscrew your valve stem. Let all that air out. Okay, now you might have to go through and kind of massage the tire off the rim. So I like to go on one side, flip it over, go through the other side. Sometimes the tire can be pretty tight on the rim. So this kind of helps massage it off. If you have these little bits and bobs, this is my mother-in-law's wheel. I'm gonna take this off. You don't need these, and I'll explain why in a sec. So when you get a fresh inner tube, you'll have this little nut, and you'll also have a plastic cap. You don't really need that. I would just throw it out. Okay, so we're flat. Now, let's see, everyone have their tire levers? So I like to go opposite. So if this side is the valve, if you're having a hard time seeing too, just let me know and I can try and reorient myself. So I'm gonna start directly opposite the valve. I'm gonna peel that tire away. And I'm going to jam that tire lever in. Now, set up the tire lever so it's in line with one of your spokes. Because what you can do is you can hook it on. You can see that. If you don't have a hook, don't panic. It's not necessary, but it helps. Okay. Then move down a little bit down the rim. Find another spot. Massage that tire off. Don't be shy. Like you've got a flat, so get in there. Okay, and just kind of start levering. This might be a bit of a struggle, but that's okay. And you'll see it'll just pop off suddenly like that. So kind of get in there, work it, work it, work it. Just try and don't give up, just keep working it. Natalie, are you good? You have the tire off? Sweet. Who else? Claire, are you good?
I'm trying to get the tire iron in.
Okay, so you do have one of these hooks. So if you set up the hook, this end under the tire, and then that hooky part, try and hook that onto your spoke.
Okay, then what? After that.
Got that. Then find a new spot. Just go
that.
down the tire a little bit. Massage that tire off. Get that tire iron in there. And you kind of just have to start wedging it off and move towards the other one. Hey, no interference. Hey, Claire, I can see that. Hey, hey, hey. You can do it. I believe in you. Kathleen, how's it going? Ooh, I see. Yeah, you got it. Nice. Stephanie, how's it going?
No, I can't get the other one in.
You can't get the other one in.
Yeah.
You're on the same side as the first one?
Yep. I got the first one in. I can't get that second one in. No.
Is your first
Can
one
I call my...
hooked
Yeah,
on your
it's hooked.
spoke?
Right
Maybe
there.
unhook it and just leave it in the tire. Leave it in there if you can, and then try like that.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
Yeah, sometimes it works against you. That's that hooking the spoke.
Okay. I got it in. Now what?
Sweet. Can you push both now?
The first one came out.
Oh, that sounded promising.
When I put the first one in, the second one comes out.
Can you catch it before it pops out? Or once you get that second one in, can you then hook it onto the spoke?
There,
so
I got it. I got it.
Nice.
I got it.
Sweet. So
Oof, I'm sweating.
Angie has I know, me too. Angie has a comment. She said when you're riding, the rubber is softer, so it should be easier to get off the rim rather than just doing it cold like this. Thank you, Angie, for that. Sweet. Okay,
Laura, this is Jackie. Just a quick question.
Sure.
Can you buy non-plastic tire levers? Because I keep breaking mine.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
You're strong.
So I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'm strong or I'm probably doing it wrong.
These Park tools.
I have broken many. I have broken many over time.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never. Let me look into that. I've only ever used plastic, and these Park.
Yeah, that's all I've ever seen. So I didn't know if there was anybody seen a metal one. Maybe that would be a little more permanent.
You might risk. Let me look into that. I'll put that and put that in the next email.
Okay.
You might need just a more robust one like this, but I'll look into see if
Or
there's
I
other
just need to be near a
material.
bike shop every time I have a.
All right, so everybody's tires are up or getting there. Okay, so now just kind of slide the tire lever all the way around. So now your tire is off your rim.
Oh no.
And pull that inner tube out. Not all the way, let's leave the valve in the hole just for a second. So you might have to pull from the opposite side of the valve, put your fingers in there and pull it out.
No, Stevie?
Pardon me? So sometimes I sometimes have latex gloves in my saddle bag. You know, if you've just got your nails done or something, like you kind of get filthy or you don't want to protect your hands, you can always throw in the gloves. Another reason to keep your bike clean is when you have to change a flat, you can avoid a lot of grease on your hands. Okay, so this is a little bit of a pro tip. The valve stem should always be center of the tire label. You see how that's there? And this is because we need a reference point. So we flatted and we're not sure what's caused our flat. As long as we know that the valve stem is center on this tire label, then we know where on the tire we might have a tack or we might have some debris that we need to pick out. So check to see if it's centered now. If not, we're gonna center it when we redo this. Okay, so pull out your inner tube. Now we want to see what's caused the flat. So some people drag their fingers inside their tire. I'm hesitant to do that because if you have a piece of glass sticking through or a nail or an attack and you're dragging your hand through there, you might cause an injury. So I like to just do a visual inspection. And more often than not, you can see what's caused the flat. Perhaps there's a gash. In that case, you might need to boot it. So one of these suckers, you actually slip it inside the tire like that. Or there's something in there you need to pick out. Some people carry tweezers in their toolkit or in their saddle bag to pull whatever has caused the flat out. If it looks like a snake bite, that means you've pinch flatted. So you've actually, maybe you've hit a pothole or you're running too low of tire pressure and your inner tube has pinched on itself and created a little snake bite. Sometimes flats can happen near the valve stem. So if you've looked and you've looked and you've looked and you can't find anything wrong with this, sometimes just the valve stem is ripped. So you can check around there. I usually don't patch it right away. I usually put a fresh inner tube in on that ride and then I patch it when I get home just to avoid any further problems on that ride. If you can't find the hole, or say we found the problem, say the problem is right here. What you can do, so we found the problem, it's right here. We line that valve stem up with the center of the tire because we knew that's how our inner tube was, and it'll show us on the tire where the issue was. It'll kind of guide us to that spot. If you still can't find anything, what you can do is inflate the inner tube with a little bit of air and put it in water, and wherever the hole is, it'll start bubbling. And then you'll know immediately where the hole is. Okay, so we've inspected our inner tube, we found the culprit, we've done what we need to do with the tire. Now let's make sure that this tire label is center on this valve hole. So you might have to kind of muscle it and get it nice and center. So we're just gonna put the same one in again unless you have flatted, but unwind your fresh inner tube. I see people grab a fresh inner tube and then put it on the ground. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. because now you're picking up stuff off the ground and you're putting it in your tire, and you might actually cause another flat because you've picked up some rock and now you're putting it back in. What you'll also need to do when you're using a fresh inner tube, it'll be completely airless. So what you're actually going to want to do is put a little bit of air in. So you're going to get your fresh inner tube out. You're going to take off those bits and bobs I said, put them in your pocket. You don't need them. Then you're going to actually put a little bit of air in. So if you have a pump, if you have your hand pump or you have a floor pump, you're going to put just a little bit. You can also blow into it. Oops. This is on the wrong way. So this one threads on. I don't know if anybody has a Lezyne pump like this, but they thread on. Put a little bit of air in. This will just help seed the tire in the tube. All right. I usually just put it around my neck. I say don't put it on the ground. I just put it around my body. All right. Now, here comes the fun part. Are we all good? Steph, how's it going? Stephanie?
I never got my tire off. Never, it's still on.
The inner tube?
It's okay. No, I never got the tire off. Like I never, yeah. I'm still at step one. It's okay.
Oh, I thought you got the tire off. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
You might be running tubeless.
No, I'm not running tubeless. I know I'm not.
Sometimes the rims are tubeless compatible. You might not be running tubeless. You might be running tubes, but their rims are really, really tight and really hard to get off.
So that's where I called my husband.
Yeah, it could take, I've spent 20 minutes just trying to get a tire off a rim that's a tubeless compatible rim. They're just so tight.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to listen.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we have our inner tube. We're going to try and keep it off the ground. Put that valve in. And now I start from the valve side. So make sure you're not twisting. I'm already twisting my inner tube. Make sure you're not twisting it as you're putting it in. So I start at the valve and I go to both sides at a time. And I kind of just massage that inner tube into the rim and into the tire, ending at the bottom. And again, I'm going to start at the valve. This is where things might get we have to struggle a little bit to get this back on, but I'm going to start at the valve and now I'm going to push the tire back into the rim. So I kind of go little bit by little bit, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Sometimes if you pull, I don't know if you can tell what I'm doing here, but the wheel's on the ground and I'm actually pulling down. That can kind of help get the tire on, especially if they're tight rims like Stephanie's running. When you get to this side, when you have a little bit of tire left, make sure the inner tube is fully inside. You don't want it sticking out. So when you get to here, it sometimes gets hard. And what I like to do, when you're a kid and you used to give snake bites to your siblings, that's what you're gonna do on your rim. So you're gonna hold it and you're gonna give it a snake bite. And it'll just, for the most part, pops right on. I try not to use tire levers to get the tire back on. You do risk causing another pinch flat that way. If you can, use your hands only. Is everyone's tire back on? Holler if it's not. No? Okay. Lizanne, how's it going? I got a thumbs up from Bryn.
My tire is inside, but now I need to get it back on the wheel.
Okay. If you stand up and you do this, kind of hold the tire. All I'm doing is holding the tire and I'm pulling it down. sometimes gives you a little more to work with. And then when you get to that end, just start giving your wheel a snake bite. Kathleen, did you get it back on? Nice. Natalie, got it back on? Nice. Angie? Sweet. Claire, you got yours back on?
I'm at the very last.
Very end. Yeah. This is often the hardest part. For those that have on, we'll wait, but those that have it on, I saw Kathleen doing this. You want to go through and you want to check to make sure that the inner tube isn't, you can't actually see it. It needs to be completely inside the tire. If it's sticking out at all, you might need to get a tire lever, take the tire off, and kind of get it back in there. So you need to check. I do this, and I'm kind of pulling the tire off the rim, checking to see if the inner tube is visible. It's not. You need to do both sides. So flip the wheel around, check the other side. If you don't do this step and you have a little bit of inner tube hanging out and you start pumping has this happened to anybody? You start pumping your wheel back up and this balloon starts forming and explodes. So it's really important that that inner tube is safe inside.
Laura,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
These lovely CO2 cartridges.
Yeah.
These guys, I always travel with these when I'm riding, and thank God I've never had to use one, but I haven't practiced with one yet. That's the other problem. So do you recommend just trying it out and, just using it so when you ever get into any tips on these guys?
I would definitely try out your equipment before you really need it. So a tip, you're already doing it right. You want to keep these separated. Some people store it on. It's just going to lose air. When you start threading it on, it can be a bit violent. Don't panic, just keep turning. I usually wear gloves because sometimes it can freeze. And I would definitely just sacrifice one and try, because you don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere, out of cell reception by yourself and not know how to use your equipment. So I would definitely try. Same with your frame pump or your pump that you carry in your pocket. Make sure you know how to use these. That's a good question.
And
I usually don't carry CO2. I always just carry a hand pump.
why is that? Is it just more reliable?
More reliable, and if I carry CO2, and I always recommend, if you carry CO2, always carry a backup. So always have a pump. So then I think, well, I'm just carrying two things, so I'd rather just carry one. I'm going to take the thing that will give me unlimited refills. This is a one-time dealie, maybe two.
Does your hand pump have a gauge on it, or do you just go by feel?
By feel. So that's why the pinch test.
Okay.
That's why pumping our tires a few times a week and getting to know what tire pressure feels like with that pinch. It's really hard to get the PSI you need on a road tire with a hand pump. You might be riding a little bit lower for the rest of the ride. So I just pump until I can't pump anymore, and it always feels a little too low, but that's all you can do. And then when you get home, make sure you check it again with your floor pump. I think you can get hand, or what are these called?
Like
mini
hand
pumps?
pumps with gauges, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you like that one that you have right now?
Yeah, this one is great. It's a Lezyne. You can get pretty high pressure out of it, I find, and it's quite light and sleek.
Cool.
The other thing is there's two different types of valves. There's Presta and Schrader, and this has Presta on that end. So for valve stems like this, that's Presta. And then Schrader, which is a bit of a, I don't know, most bikes nowadays, even mountain bikes, come with Presta, but some inner tubes are Schrader, so you have both there. All right, everyone's tires back on. Not yet, Lizanne. Oh, I wish I could help you. How much do you have? How much do you have left to get on? A little bit. And you've tried the snake bite?
Yeah, like this, right?
Okay, we'll keep going. If you can stay on the call after, I'll help you one-on-one to get that back on, so I don't leave you abandoned, not having a rideable wheel. So if you have your hand pump, I don't know why I'm calling it a hand pump, mini pump. Let's start using that just so we get comfortable with it. That reason that little ring is there is so that I told you to take off. If you push on the valve, it's just pushing up, right? So that's what that ring does, is it holds the valve. But what you can also do is just use your hand. So I just put pressure on top of the valve on the tire while I'm threading on my tube, and then you don't need that little metal piece. It's just an extra step. So now it's threaded on. Be gentle when you're using mini pumps. I have been a little bit overzealous and torn my valve off my inner tube, and then I have to plead with my riding buddies if I can borrow one of their inner tubes. So let's start pumping. I usually start it going, and then I double check that I don't have any inner tube bulging out. You'll see pretty quickly if you do, and if you do, you're gonna have to deflate and address that problem. So it's a good opportunity to practice with your mini pump if you have one. I just got a little bit of air in there, but I'm gonna finish it off with the floor pump. If you are pumping your tires too, it's important to open the valve. So you turn the valve and then you give it one squirt of air. That just releases it and allows you to put air in. Again, you might need to put pressure on top of the valve while putting the pump on so the valve doesn't get sucked up into your rim. Push that on. You know what PSI you want now because we checked last week. It's not actually staying on very nicely. I'm gonna put 90 in this. Get my upper body workout in for the day. The pumps, I see sometimes people are doing like half pumps like this. You want full extension of your pump all the way to the bottom where it bottoms out. 90 PSI. I've had people ask me this too. So when you take the valve out, you might, or the pump off, you might hear this sound. Everybody heard that? That's not air leaving your tire, that's air leaving the hose. So don't panic and think you've lost a bunch of tire pressure. When that sound happens, you haven't. And then make sure you do that valve up. If not, you can lose air from that. So make sure you tighten that, and it just has to be hand tight. And there you go.
Hey, Laura, I just thought of another question now.
Yeah.
With CO2 cylinders, do you use the entire cylinder or is that by feel as well? Because I've heard both things and I don't really know what to do.
Yeah, I would. So I'm not going to do it, but you're going to put it on and I would hold the tire, not like almost squeeze it so you feel it inflating. And once it gets to that point, like, whoa, that's hard enough, pull it off.
So you don't just do the full canister, and because that could technically explode your tube, right?
Exactly.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
No problem.
I think there's also a range on the canister as well, so you can see what the maximum PSI that's actually in the bottle.
That's a great tip. I don't use these very much, so that's a great tip. This one doesn't actually say 16 gram.
If your actual tire is punctured, you're kind of fucked, right? Like there's no.
You could be. It depends on how bad it is. So that's where the little boot or a wrapper or a dollar bill, because what that's doing, if there is a huge gash, as soon as you roll over something's going to go right through that hole, puncture your inner tube, you're flatted again, where this is another barrier. So I would try and boot it if something happened to your tire and if it's gone through the threads of these tires are weaved material, if the hole's right through and you can see your inner tube, you really should put a boot in there.
I carry electrical tape with me.
Yeah, that's great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, electrical tape, Gorilla tape, duct tape. I've seen people put wacky things and it's worked. So don't give up hope.
Okay.
You might be screwed and you might have to, get Uber home. But
does the tape go on the inside of the tire or the outside?
Tape goes on the inside. So
like the sticky part attaches to the tire itself?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that requires a little bit of MacGyvering. So you're gonna have to, put that in there. If it's tape, it's great. It sticks. If it's something loose like money, kind of have to hold it in place while you get your inner tube up against it. Takes a bit of MacGyvering. Any other questions? Except for Lizanne, we're gonna stay on and get you rolling. Everyone else got you got it. Woo! Yeah! There you go. No intervention required, you did it. That's awesome.
Yes.
Sweet. I'm proud of you. Good job. Any other questions or comments? Or we have lots of suggestions from everybody on the call today. That's awesome. I also have my bike upside down. I usually like to put my bike upside down when I do flat. It's easier to get the wheels off. Then your derailleur and your chain's not flopping all over the dirt. Flip your bike over. If you run disc brakes and you've taken a wheel off, do not squeeze the brake lever. Rim brakes, it's not a problem, but with disc, you don't want the caliper to close.
Do you have issues with the hydraulics? Like, are you worried about it when you flip it upside down with the hydraulics?
No. And you'll have to release your brakes. If you have a rim brake, there's a lever. You're gonna have to flip up to give space for your wheel to come out. If you have a cantilever brake, you might have to undo it, so know how to do that. Oh, another thing, if you run disc, you have to carry one of these, because unless you have a quick release through axle, a lot of disc wheels require an Allen key to get your wheel off. So make sure you have an Allen key in your saddlebag if you're running disc, or you won't be able to get your wheel off if you flat. Any other questions? Sweet. Good job, everyone. No one has their tires half off right now. I have some videos I can't see. We're good. Okay. Sweet. Well, thanks for playing today, and appreciate patience, and everyone go wash their hands now and clean your bikes if you haven't. Thanks so much for sending me, everyone. I loved seeing those sparkly, beautiful, clean bikes of yours, and all the emails that have been coming through. I really, really love that. So keep that up. And if you have any questions or you want me to talk about anything next week, just send me an email. And that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Bye.
Sorry, I was late.
You send
Oh,
us,
that's okay.
you get the recording, right, Laura?
Yes, I recorded this, so I'll send this in an email later
Great.
tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I got stuck at the grocery store and I was like, oh my God. So thank you.
That's okay. Homework
All
is to
right.
do it again. So you're all going to do this again.
Did you actually, I'll just see the video, but did you have people deflate their tires to do it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I don't think anyone actually had a flat, but so
Okay.
we just unscrewed our valve and took the air out.
Okay. Great.
That's awesome. I didn't know I was supposed to send you a photo of my bike. I'm sorry.
You don't have to. I think it was a bonus. Bonus if you send a photo.
Oh.
I just like seeing your bikes.
I have to change my cleats.
Yeah.
Well, the cleats on I have the new ones, and I just don't think I'm going to do it properly. You said draw around it. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Take your shoe.
Because I feel like something's not right on my bike, because whenever I cycle, I don't have the best circulation anyways, but my toes always freeze, even in the summer. So I'm wondering if I need to take the bike in and get it like refit. I normally go to Mighty
Maybe check
Riders.
your shoes, because I had the shoes I had previously were too tight for my feet and I didn't realize, and every time I go riding, I also like my feet would stop the circulation, and I got like more loose shoes now.
Yeah,
and I don't know, it works perfectly, but that's just me. So.
Okay, well, that's sort of something that I suggested when I was last there getting my bike tuned up. And they were like, oh, no, your shoes are fine. It's just whatever. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that sounds
But then
like
I also get
maybe
like a
too tight.
weird little, also in my lower back on one of my vertebrae, after I start riding for like 2 hours, I get like a snapping on one side. It's like something's like snug or like pinching on the bone.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be a placement issue? Or is
That could be
just a
bike
body?
fit.
Okay.
Yeah, that could be bike fit. That could
Okay.
be, it could be your saddle's too high and it's pulling.
Okay. So
The chain, so everything's sort of pulling, and then it gets to that point where you're starting to compensate.
Okay.
The cleat placement too, it could affect if you're
Well,
really toe heavy.
Because it's like the right foot is the foot that goes numb right off the bat, and then the clicking bit is on the left of the spine. But it's right on the, like I can put my finger on it right now and I can feel it.
My track PT guy said, okay, please send me your.
Yeah, yeah, it might be compensating. So something's happening on the right foot and you're compensating. That's a common thing where
totally
one side
could
affects
just
the
be
other.
like a zigzag effect of the body. Okay, well maybe I should just go back to Mighty Riders and get them to do a fit, unless there's somewhere you recommend for women.
I'll send an email to you later and with some suggestions.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Laura, maybe like an embarrassing question. Are you on Strava? Because like that's the only way I kind of like keep track of stuff.
I am on Strava. I don't post everything. I don't post
do you
everything.
keep it mostly private? Because I was like, I don't know if it's so embarrassing to ask.
I'll send you Laura Brown. There was probably a million of us.
There is. I checked. I was like,
You've
okay,
checked.
I can't add all of them. That's weird.
Yeah, is it cool to like check out your Strava for like good rides?
Yeah, for sure. I'll send that in the email.
Okay.
And like I just said, I don't post all my rides, but there's some good
Sometimes
ones
it's
in
just
there.
nice to see somebody else's route and be like, oh, that's a place
Yeah.
I could go where there's no cars.
Totally.
I feel like
Yeah.
people that do it for a career or do it all the time, like they don't post very much. My bike shop guy, I don't know if anyone's from the North Shore, but I go to Obsession Bikes.
Mm-hmm.
James Wilson, he's like, I'm never on Strava. You'll never find me. I'm like, oh, God. I really want to like check it out though. So, anyways. Well, thanks so much. Sorry
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Oh no, it's no problem. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
Thank you. Good luck tonight.
Your email.
Bye.